Okay. Hi, Myra. We're just starting. So tonight's topic is on how do we grow in our faith as we grow older, um, and I wanted to start with this question to the panelists. Can you share how was your faith journey like from when you were like the youth age, like 3 years away from leaving home until you are today? How was that how has that journey look like? Yeah. So who would like to start first?
Yeah, I can start.
Okay, Alicia, go ahead.
So you said 2 years before leaving, what?
Somewhere around that, like when you were youth, when you're in youth group, or when you were like the age of these young people here. From that point until now, how was your faith journey? What does it look like?
So I kind of grew up in a Christian household. Although my parents weren't very like spiritual or religious, we always go to church and all that. So I've been going to youth since I was about 12. And then I left the FPBC youth when I was around 20, when I left the MK. So even when I was at youth, I was like pretty active, but I wouldn't say that I had a personal relationship with God. Like I never really took it seriously. It's like oh, I go and then I hang out with friends and I kind of learn a bit about the Bible, that kind of thing. So I said before, like when I went to UK, then I started to get a bit more serious about reading the Bible and all that. But I still wouldn't say I had like a personal relationship with God. So but I started to get a bit closer to Him and started praying more regularly. And it was honestly only this year that I really started to like walk with God and seek out His will for my life. But my case will be special lah, because I got sick. Then I had a lot of time to like spend time in His Word, and then it's like, it's funny how God works, right? It's like if you don't talk to Him, also He won't really talk to you so much. So you like, the more I prayed and the more I read the Bible, then it really started like opening up to me, and like, really started to hear Him speak to me. It's like amazing lah, start to see life differently now.
Okay. Thank you, Alicia. I'll come back to you because I have one part I want to ask, but especially about this past year lah. But I'll come back to you. I want to hear the rest first, and because this last year you said you were sick, and then a big change. So I want to listen more about that. But I'll come back. Okay. Maybe Ben, Kyndra, or Nicholas, who would like to go next?
Yeah, I can go next.
Okay.
So since youth, I guess quick backstory. I think at one point I actually left FABC's youth, and I was doing a different youth group in a different church for a while. Then I kind of came back and like did too. So it's like a little crazy, but that's just like some backstory. I think in terms of like spiritual, like being fed and growing, like I think during my when I was 15 to 18, those stages of my life were like really big in terms of forming my character and my spiritual growth, because I think that's when I really experienced like what does it mean to be really selfless and just be so comfortable with each other. And like I think my youth group, like the joke was like, oh yeah, like we welcome all kinds of special people. I mean, like there's some people with like different needs or what, but we just took, not say we took them, but like we all like saw each other as equal and same. And I think that was just really eye-opening for me to feel like, wow, like this is what the church should be. You know, it's not just like, oh yeah, like if you feel like if you have accepted Jesus, you should come. You know, no, like anyone could come. Right? Like yes, we'll worship. We're not shy about it. We won't feel like, oh yeah, he's not really believing, but we won't like sting, you know, or what. But we just did our thing. And if you wanna be part of it and you wanna receive Christ, like that's great. If not, like be part of our community. You know, at the end when we do food or games or what, like I was the game leader, so like that's how we. I think that really that made it like a big thing in my life, that when I went to the US, I was like, wow, this is lacking. Like my community, and sort of community being plugged in, like I was like this is, how do I say this? Like it was like I definitely like felt like I was in a desert place that when I was in the US, because I'm like, wow, like it's hard to find this community. And
Wait, you're in a Christian university, right?
Yeah. So sometimes like I know this is on recording now. Like as much as it's great to, it's safer, right? And it could be like the not risky option, but yeah, like sending your kids to a Christian school. But sometimes in the Christian environment, like you can see more like hypocrisy, or even like people who just go there because they have to go. And our school, like we had a bunch of athletes from overseas, and they could bypass the faith statement. So a bunch of them didn't even know that, oh, it's a Christian school. So it just created a bad environment. Not say bad, but like just a conflicted environment of like, what does it mean to live out your faith, you know, whereas there's so many people who are not. So I think even though it's, yeah, like Uncle Choon pointed out, like it's a Christian school, like sometimes I feel like in a non-Christian school, secular school setting, even though there's no like divide, right? In that setting, like you can find people who are more committed to their faith because this is what they want to do, versus just, oh yeah, they're forced to do it, like, and it's just part of what the culture and like what's popular to do, you know. So yeah, I think it took me like maybe a year-ish to find like my core group of friends, and that we can just be comfortable and just worship and really grow in faith. Because at one point I was just more like, wow, like I don't feel connected, you know. And I think I found a church too, and I was able to serve, so that helped me to like I think I've learned that like for myself, I know Auntie Rina mentioned about devotions, we can mention it later, but like personally it's more like being able to like be plugged in and serve at a certain degree, and that definitely helps me to be connected and grow in my faith. Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess I'll go next. Yeah, so my story is pretty similar to Alicia and Ben's, where, you know, I grew up in youth group, I grew up in the church, and I don't know, I would say there's a big difference between youth group and like your young adult years and being in your 20s. So with youth group, it's like sometimes it's your parents like driving you there, so you don't have a choice, and sometimes you don't want to go and sometimes you do want to go. I pretty much always wanted to go in high school, but yeah, they would drive me there, and it was kind of like a set routine that, you know, you went to youth group on Sundays or on Wednesday nights, and then you went to church on Sundays, and you had your kind of like routine there. And like a lot of like kids in youth group and stuff were like still figuring things out and like figuring their faith out. And so it's just different there. And then college, I got to college and I was with the kind of the same friend group as Ben, which was just a really spiritually affirming group. Like they just really pointed you back to God at every step. And we would pray together. We even still have like a support chat on WhatsApp that we reference back to, and we'll put like prayer requests in there and stuff, and ways that we can support one another through like these adult years. But I would say even, I mean, this is kind of a unique situation, but with COVID and everything, it's just been hard personally for me, just because church was closed for so long. And I feel like, you know, your own personal faith is super important, but it's also super important to be encouraged by others and like have somebody else like lifting you up and like encouraging you. And so when you get that pulled away from you and everything is just an online video that you're watching and there's no personal face-to-face interaction, and even you're not seeing your friends that are like able to support you, I definitely think that that community aspect is so important. So, I mean, let's pray that nothing like COVID ever happens again, and that at least in our lifetimes. So it's a very unique situation, but I would just encourage everybody that having that church like community support, whether it's like a Bible study or a church group or even both, I think is important. It's just really good to have that community support, and your friends who you surround yourself with are going to influence your thoughts and your actions. And if you have friends that are going to encourage you and point you back to God at every step and pray with you, then you're going to be in a lot better mental space and you're going to be in a lot better personal relationship with God than if you have friends who aren't doing that or are kind of lackluster in their faith and that kind of thing. So
Kyndra, just for your situation, you would say that your faith grew a lot more when you were in college because of this group of friends?
Yes, yeah, I definitely think
more than when you were going to youth group and church. When you were okay.
Yeah, and I think it just was more because it was like my choice at that point. Youth group, I mean, it's still kind of your choice, but not really, because your parents are like dictating it. So I think, you know, a lot of my friends from youth group from Christ after going to college, I'd say a very good percent of them did. So I mean, it just shows that once you're in college, you're kind of a free bird. And but yeah, I would say definitely took ownership more at that point.
Okay, great. We'll come back to you on how you got plugged into this group. Why do you choose to? Okay, but hang on there. I'm going to go to Nicholas first. Nicholas, so how about your journey?
Okay, my journey, yeah, because I'm growing up in Christian family, so I just attend Sunday school. But then there's a different phases where it is between teenagers. I go to high school, university, and then going enter into the career world. So during my teenagers, I think I just I don't take seriously about about church and you know, youth. I don't really take it seriously. Yes, but I still attend the church. I still attend youth, but not so. I mean, not so serious. You know, I play music. I just go there and just play, and then after that I go back, and then I follow all the, you know, the activities. But then it's not. I'm not reach the level where I feel that I want to serious with God until when I in my high school, and then it just something that hit me. You know, it quite interesting as well, because a month before that, actually, I'm ashamed to share this. I got drunk. Yeah, yeah. You know, it's really painful. That's my first time. You know, to be drunk, and then the next morning is really painful experience for me. Yeah, because the night before I just vomit and all those, you know. But then it's really painful experience for me. But then the funny thing is, 1 month after that, I feel that I you know, quite miserable. So there's just an urge, you know, in my heart that says, I should be serious lah. Should be serious because the time I was 18, already 18. So I felt that I shouldn't do this. I should be serious about God. And then I start lah, just like a baby, start to to read the Bible again, and but that one is, I feel that I feel more involved. I feel more serious with God. But then it helps me through the journey. I have a group of youth that time in our high school. That's really they are very excited for God. They are serious with God, and we journey together. And but then when I entered to university, it's a bit different again, because different environment, different friends we have, not like before. So need to connect again, need to build a relationship again. And I think community of believers is important, for our growth in Christ. I think I share that a little bit first, maybe later.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Nicholas. You need to share more about why you got drunk, huh? But later. Okay, I go back to Alicia. Alicia early on shared that really her faith grew exponentially this past year, and that was catalyzed by some health issue, Would you want to elaborate more? Something you can share? Why would a health issue, something bad, cause you to draw near to God? Yeah.
I think when mine was quite a big issue. Like my life literally turned upside down overnight. So
you were working already then?
Yeah. So I was just getting settled at my job and really enjoying my job. And then so I got diagnosed with a neuromuscular disease. So basically my whole body became weak like that. So still recovering now, but I'm better lah. So when it happened, I think I could have gone both ways. I could have gotten really angry with God, or I could draw closer to Him, but somehow I just felt in my heart that He had another plan for me. So I started praying more, but I wasn't totally walking according to His will yet. Slowly it grew, and then I was in and out of the hospital about 3 times, and then at the last time suddenly I don't know, something just happened. It's sometimes you cannot explain it. I think God just chooses to chooses you at that point. Although of course your heart must be willing lah.
Right.
And, so it's cannot explain lah. Suddenly overnight I just started feeling reading the Bible. I used to read it, just skim it before, but after that it's the words really started speaking to me, and I had nothing to do. I couldn't go anywhere, so I just sat there and turned on my audio Bible and just listened to it for hours each day. It was really weird. I would never do that last time. It's by the grace of God lah.
Yeah. So the third time you went to the hospital, when you're coming out, you were thinking that change, or emotionally anything happened, or it's just that you wake up the next morning and say, I want to read the Bible?
I cannot really remember, but it's I was I think sometimes I hear people say that you have to be broken for God to really speak to you. So like, it was a horrible week for me. It's like the worst week of my life. But you know, I was just like broken, so it just happened.
Okay, great. Thank you. I guess maybe before I go back to Ben, Kyndra, I want to talk to Nicholas first because about this. He had this drunkenness. Why do you choose to get drunk?
Actually, I just want to try. Yeah, that's my instinct. During my teenagers, when I saw people, take cigarettes like that, there's a feeling that I want to try that, but I don't do it.
because you are Christian, right? Not allowed, right?
Yeah. So, but during that time, actually, it's a gawai. I mean, it is a festival. Actually, it's a festival. So during festival, it is normal for other people to drink, and then but then I said, hey, I'm 18 now. Actually, I can try this. So I drink as much as I want, and then so yeah, I got drunk so bad, and then I don't remember what I did.
Did you get a scolding from your parents?
No, no. I think they just saw me, walk around and then just falling here and there, and then they just let me go to sleep.
Right.
Yeah, after I vomit and all those things. But it's really painful. And the next morning is really painful. That's my worst experience.
So then you say after a month you committed to really want to live differently. I mean, what caused you to think that way? I mean, is it because of this drunkenness or?
Maybe because I felt that if this is the life that I want, I think it is really bad. It's really painful. Why I start to ask why people want to get drunk. This is not a good experience to to buy. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe just God is doing something in your heart, in my heart, says this is not the right way to live. Get drunk, and yeah, I think that is the reason why I reached to that decision to get more serious with God. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Nicholas. Ben and Kyndra, when you went to university, I start with Ben. You said kind of, even though it's a Christian university, you feel like you're in the wilderness. There's no support system. Like you were enjoying during 15 to 18 years old. Actually, before I go there, I want to ask you. You said you went to a youth group other than Fettes Park. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Can be honest.
Wow, cards are out, right? So I would say, so and if me sharing this, like, and those who will listen after that, like, this just hear it in your own discretion, and things happen in the past, and it happened, and it's not like it's anyone's fault. Okay, so I think Fettes Park was just going through lots of reorganizations, and we had leaders who were coming in and out, and I think when I was 15 or 16, something struck in me where I was like, I want to be fed and be really serious about the Bible. And I remember attending the youth group there. I was like, wow, like this is I don't think this is what I'm seeking, you know, like at that point. And I guess maybe me being in an international school, like I just didn't I wasn't connected with the people in the church. Maybe that's on my end, you know, I don't know. I'm just trying to think of a reason, but I would say like in terms of being fed, that's not where I felt like I was being fed then.
This is the Fattest Park youth group at that time.
Yeah, and I did ask the leader to give the blessing for me to like step away, you know, and so I think there's maybe systemic stuff that happened. Maybe I think it's a mixture of my personal need and where am I at in terms of like what I'm seeking and in terms of like what was being given then in that time.
And how did you find this other youth group? How did you end up there? Someone invited you there?
I'm trying to think back to, I think back in the lot, I overheard some friends who were like, "Oh yeah, like let's go. Like, oh, we can't stay back to school because we have youth group or whatever." I was like, "Oh, like, they have? Wow, I didn't know like people would do stuff outside of school too." You know, that's when I forgot what happened, but I reached out and they said, "Yeah, like come and join us." You know, and that's when they by like weeks of. That's when I started joining, and that's when I was like, "Wow!" Like I still remember coming in, like they were telling me, "Ben, you're so serious," you know, because I was coming, I want to be fat, you know, so like I was like no chill at all. So like they thought that, oh yeah, this guy like
is weird.
Because there was one time they were saying something that was like quote unquote like sinful, but they were joking about it. I'm like, wait, like you can't say that. That's like not right? And they're like, oh, like okay. Then after a while, I became more vulnerable to talk to, and they're like, oh yeah, that's pretty funny too. It's not like he's so serious all the time, but I'm not sure what was the catalyst or that period, but it was just like I think hearing something and then I think reaching out and asking if it's okay for me to join because I'm from a different, don't want to cause anything, and they said yeah, of course, anyone's welcome, and that's how I started going. I think
for 3 years, right?
Yeah, like 3 to 4 years. I mean, that's when I would say like over the years I've experienced like tremendous growth in terms of like owning my own faith. You know, that was really big. Yeah.
So you that's the first time where you truly feel that you made a choice, and it's not that you were forced to go to youth group or church. You made a choice, and Jesus met you there, and that's the turning point, kind of like Alicia when she was sick that year, and Nicholas after he got drunk a month later. These are to sound like turning points in your faith journey, different. And then when you went to US, for 1 year, you were kind of in the wilderness. Now, were you actively seeking out a group of people or some campus ministry to join? Or
yeah, there wasn't like campus ministry, probably because it's like a Christian campus, right? So it's like you'd be there, right?
Yeah.
I definitely was bouncing around lots of churches then. I was going to different places and seeing any friends with car rides, and I think partially being an international student too, or just it's just there's always a barrier you have to overcome that, you know. Like I remember going to an all Chinese church and I was like, wow, like I don't think this is where God's wanting me to be, because like not say like everyone's the same, but more like you're in a different, you feel like you're not in the US anymore. I was like, wow, like everyone just speaks their own. And I was like this exists, like even in Malaysia, like our church is like so diverse too, you know, in that sense, right? Of course, Chinese church on the weekends is different, right? But this was like no one really spoke English at all, and I was like, okay, that's fine, but I also want some diversity, you know. I think because of Fattest Park, in our background, I'm used to that, and I think that's where I think a diverse church allows us to grow in that way, right? So definitely took me like a year-ish to like move around, and I think I would say like I knew sorry, my alarm keep going. I should turn it off because I was snoozing it. I think your question that threw me off, like in terms of seeking, yes, I was doing that, but at the same time, I would like try to like find ways to like surf a bit. I think there was like a sports club I was helping a bit, like I was just testing the waters everywhere, because I think my mom was really encouraging me, say, hey, Ben, like, you have to put yourself out there, you know, things won't just come to you because like your parents would guide you and do stuff, right? And maybe adults in churches would reach out to you and want to mentor you, but when you're on your own, like you really have to like, not say be innovative, but like, yeah, like be willing to make the wrong step. Then even though if you fall, you still fall forward, you know, like you're not going backwards, right? So it's like, yeah, like be open. I think.
So this group of people that you end up with, how did you end up with them?
Yeah, it was really God appointed. I mean, like, should I share that story then?
Yeah, if you want to.
Yeah, so like every Thursdays in the evening we like that our campus we have like a international work in residence, and so the missionaries who would do their furlough and spend a year there, and every Thursday
and they lived on campus.
Yeah, they live on campus, so like it's easy to go to their house, the school, like housing for them, and we would do bonfires and just sit and chat and have like snacks, you know, and talk. And one point that was like my first semester actually, even though it took me a year, like because it was just these these small group of us doing this together. Like we just said, hey, like I think I shared this before, I think,
yeah,
but
think you might have.
But I'll just real quick then, like we just shared about how like, hey, like let's go out for a hike at midnight, and only 4 of us showed up, and that's when like we told the whole group, you know, but only like 4 of us showed up, including me, and this is how our friendship really grew. And one guy was Catholic, one guy was a missionary kid, one guy he just did church because of his parents, and that's how we really held each other really accountable. And we kind of made a pact where like, okay, like this is us, like we're gonna room together too, and we're gonna hold each other accountable, and there's no like shame or shyness when we want to directly confront each other like some issues, you know. And that's when I think, because we're willing to be vulnerable, I think that's when God allowed us to grow. I think the big step is really like you have to take off your shell then, in terms of that,
so in this one hike you committed to each other.
I would say we definitely experienced life, and we saw how like we could really be strong friends. I think after a while that's when we committed. I think during the year end we're like, hey, let's room together, and second year that's when we made the pact that okay, we're gonna be brothers, you know, like that kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay, so it's definitely God arranged. Yeah, definitely God arranged. Yeah. How did Kyndra came into the picture?
I guess I can go into that. So I was a transfer student, which I've gone over a bit, which comes with this whole slew of problems, but we won't get into that. I transferred in, and it was hard because I didn't know anybody. Everybody at my age group already had their friend groups, already had their like people that they hung out with. So it's kind of wandering around campus. I was trying to go to as many things as I could to meet people. So I started going to that night missionary's house, and I met Ben, I met his friend Peter, and a couple other people. And I found out that they were in the process of like starting a coffee shop on campus, which I thought was super cool because I always wanted there to be like a cafe at Nyack, and there wasn't. So they had like a pop-up shop on early mornings. I think it was Tuesday, Thursdays at like 7 to like 9 a.m. or something. So I stopped by, I talked to Ben there, and actually I think that was backwards, but yeah. So I talked to Ben. That was when I first met him, and then I met him later at the iWire's house, which is the missionary residence. And then I was saying like, do you need any help with the coffee shop? Like, do you need anybody to fill shifts? And he's like, yeah, like we have this opening. And I was like, okay, sweet, because I just wanted to get to know people. And at that point, I wasn't even looking for like, I mean, I was, but I was just looking for friends. I wasn't necessarily looking for friends that really could uplift me spiritually. It was just like looking for friends. I went to shop. I helped them set up for their grand opening. Ben was there, and I think I was the only other person that was there. And then I had a shift with Ben. So that's how we really got to know each other. And through him, I got connected with this really good friend group that, you know, we're still super close to now. And they've just been such a great support, both just as friends, but also like in faith too, and like challenging us at every step. So it's been really, really, really good. And I'm trying to think, there was another point I wanted to make about like friendships. I mean, like we're setting too, like it's so easy to like find friends that are, you know, gonna uplift you spiritually and like be a good friend and that you can be yourself with. And it might take some time. Like that does not just come overnight, and it's something you really have to actively go search for. Especially if you're in a secular school, like find out what clubs, if there's a Christian club on campus. And it's going to be hard too, because your first year at university, you're not going to have a car, you're not going to be able to go to church. And so try to figure out if there are like buses that drive to the college to like take you to church, and try to like get to know like the kids who are like going on those buses and stuff. And like just really, you've got to like step out of your comfort zone and really look for something, because it's not going to just fall into your lap. And of course, you know, God provides and God's going to like look for you, but he also wants to, you know, he's not going to, you know, you got to meet him halfway. So I would say don't be discouraged, even if it takes like a year or two. It's normal, but it is something that you should actively search for, and don't give up, because it will happen. And just be prayerful about it and let God know the desires of your heart.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Now, we heard all about the good stuff. Now I'm going to ask you, what about the bad stuff? What was the lowest point in your faith journey? Either point, period, season. And how did you get out of that? Were you ever close to saying that I am giving up on my faith? Anyone?
I guess I can go. So I shared a little bit about how COVID was just really challenging, and I still feel like I'm kind of coming out of that to a certain degree.
Mm-hmm.
Like churches reopened and stuff. Like I got so used to watching church online that sometimes like we'll still watch church online, and it's just so because it's like, oh, like everything's open now, we can like go in. So that's something we're trying to do as a couple, just being really intentional about actually going to church in person, because it's just important to have that community. And it's funny because that was like something I felt like I was missing, but then it got like in such a habit of watching church online that when everything reopened, it was like, you know, maybe we'll just watch from home this Sunday and just like, you know, be in our PJs and drink coffee on the couch and like watch church instead of like going in. And again, it's like all about that intentionality, right? That I, even when I was talking about friends, like you've got to meet God halfway. And, you know, of course he's always going to be there and always going to be listening to you, but it's your part too, to really actively seek him and actively seek ways that you can connect to him and grow. So I would say that COVID was very challenging, and it definitely, I got very kind of lukewarm in like how I approach things, and I'm really trying to like come out of that. And COVID was just a weird time. I mean, a lot of people had like negatively affected on mental health. You just weren't seeing people, and I'm an introvert, but I like still need people to be around, and it's just so hard when you don't have that. And it allows you, I don't know if anybody else feels like this, but I feel like the more time I have, the less I get done. So if like I'm super busy in my schedule and I know that I have this hour to do something, then I'll make sure that that gets done in that hour. But if I have the whole day to do something, it's like, I'll do it later. And then the night ends and you haven't gotten it done yet. And I felt like that was kind of the same thing with like, you know, challenging myself in my faith. It was like, well, I have so much time now because there's nowhere to go and we're on lockdown, so I'll just do it later. And then it'd be the next day, well, I'll do it later, and next day. So it's really self-discipline, and yeah, it's not easy.
Okay,
thank you, Kyndra. How about Ben?
I'll share about like I'll come to the, I guess I'll come to the lower point too, but I would say throughout my 4 years in college, as much as I met this friend group, like it's definitely has this up and down, like because yes, externally there's this friend group or like core group, I would call them, like to keep me accountable, but personally we also have our own journey to walk, right? And I would say like there are days when I feel like, wow, I want to read the Bible, I want to do my devotions and pray at night, and I know that maybe I can't really remember because it's all blur now, but like I know I have to admit that there are some weeks or periods where I just got really busy with school, track running and stuff, that it just became a routine or just a thing to check off then. And I know it doesn't sound like it's the lowest point. It's like, wow, you're still connected, but it's just, I was just going through emotions then. Like I was just doing it because I grew up, I had to, and so it was definitely a tug of war in that sense, like in that regards. But I will personally share like how like there are moments in time when I can still remember, like if I don't pray before I go to bed or even like do devotions and really talk to God, like I couldn't sleep at all because my mind wasn't at peace, you know. So I definitely have to say that, yeah, like that really, God really was there, you know. Lowest point, I'm thankful that like the lowest points in my life were more experienced like before college then, but to share one, I would say when, are you okay sharing this then, like during your hard times and stuff? Like Kyndra was just going, I think we were dating for not more than a year, like maybe 6 months, and Kyndra suddenly like had this like anxiety like period, like panic attacks and stuff, and I didn't understand that like mental health in our family, it's like we don't, not say we don't talk about it, it's just we haven't really experienced it, you know, like no one really shared. I think maybe my sister maybe has some anxiety too, but not to Kendra's extent. And we were dating, and dating was new for me, and at one point she just stopped communicating with me, I think around the end of school year. Now I was like, this is what's happening, I don't understand this. And I remember just asking God a lot of questions then, like not saying that because is she the one or whatnot, not that, but more meaning like how do I deal with this, and how do I trust in you even more, because I think maybe like the con of like, not con, but like me being used to like things, like I know like if I work hard enough I can understand the things, I can overcome it, you know. So like I'm able to find a way to resolve any issues. But with these things, with people and like our emotions, it's not like there's a formula where we can put in and like get it done, right?
He just wanted to fix it and he couldn't.
Yeah, so like
you're helpless.
Yeah, I'm in a desperate situation where I don't understand this, Lord, like I don't trust in you more. So that's definitely like, I would say in terms of our relationship, I know it's more a relationship question, but definitely trying time, like God really testing me to like, what does it mean to be with Kyndra? What does it mean to like be with someone with mental health issues? And I think God really like opened up my faith in terms of understanding like how does mental health play into the spiritual side of our lives too, you know, because I thought it was just, yeah, you read your Bible, God loves you, boom, you know, like you experience stuff. No, that there's so much more, like I think that's when like our emotional health, like even our personalities, you know, how do we receive God? How do we, some people prefer like doing a sport or like being connected to nature. I think that God really put me down to understand that, hey, like it's okay to feel helpless, because throughout college, throughout my life, I always try to be strong and be like the one where I can be more independent. And God was just letting me like, even though I'm broken down, not physically, but in a more emotional, like, different, because I was really serious in a relationship, and I don't want to just say, oh yeah, like, wow, this doesn't work out, okay, like I'm done, you know. Yeah, right. So like it was definitely like really big then at that time.
Okay, next week you get to share more about that. Okay, thank you. How about Nicholas and Alicia? Is there a point in time where you say it's your lowest point, where anyone of you ever felt of like giving up on Christianity?
Yeah, actually for me, there was a time when I really want to give up on God. It is during my early adulthood. There was a season where, you know, I feel broke. It is a mixture of, you know, broken relationship with my crisis with my family, with my parents. Actually, it's a mixing problems lah. And then career life, all of that, just mix one, you know, make it to one. So I feel like where is God? Where are you in this situation? Yeah, I asking that question. Where are you? Are you just sitting there on your throne and just watching, uh, watch me from up there and then doing nothing? I I really did say that. And then, I maybe it's for men, we people will say that you are seldomly cry, but for me during that season, a few months, I cry a lot. Yeah. I really struggle. It's really break my heart. Um, all the things that I work for, all the things that I try to accomplish is just doesn't work that time during that season. So it's really painful for me. Yeah. And then especially when it involves emotion, emotional relationship with, it's really, it's break my heart. But then um, I even think about like why I live in this world. I have no purpose like this. I think it is useless to live. I still remember when I, um, riding my bike, then there's just a thought, bad thoughts that just come to my mind, with tears in my eyes. I said, what if I just purposely go into the middle of the road and then let the lorry or just hit me, then suddenly gone, I really did think about that. It's really a painful season of my life, the lowest moment in my life, the darkest, I think. Yeah. But then when I try to deny God, where are you? Uh, and then I start to say, is He really exist? Are you really God? You know. But then I try. The more I try to deny, but in my heart, deep inside my heart, I cannot do that because my logical conclusion is that He still exists. I cannot deny that He's not exist. Just that, yeah, maybe my experience at that moment is very worse, and then so I just pray this prayer. I said, Lord, if you are there, just help me in my unbelief. Just help me in my unbelief. I don't have strength anymore to believe. I cannot hold on. Just help me in my unbelief. I actually, that word is from what I read, few years back. It is actually a story in the Bible where in Mark 9 verse 24, where the man said, Lord, help me in my unbelief. So it's just I think the deep prayer in my in my life during that time, Lord, help me in my unbelief. So how I come out from that is that I just take my time off. I stop doing involved in youth or anything. Just stop doing that. I met my pastor, and then I just said, I want to, just take my time off. And my pastor he really understand. It's quite amazing. He's never, pushing me or anything. He just, yeah, I understand. You can do it. He said. So I just take my time off from. I still attend the church, but but my heart is still feel that it's really painful. So I start to read the Bible back, start to worship God privately in my room, and uh, it's slowly I feel that the strength is coming back. I start to look from different perspective. Yeah, it's and then I think private worship, our own personal encounter with God is, I think, the most important thing in life. Yeah, to get back to the community of faith, like the church, is also important, but I think our own personal encounter with God is, I think, that will really help. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's it.
So when you were really broken, God ministered to you personally.
Yeah, it's yeah.
This
Now when I look back, I feel that all the experience is necessary for me. I feel that I need to go through that. If not, I think, I don't know. I will not end up where I am now. So it's really, it is through experience, through that kind of valley that we go through, that we experience that God is still there with us, even when we are in doubt. We kind of question Him, we don't believe in Him, but He still lovingly will pull us back, to Him.
Thank you, Nicholas. Nicholas is actually studying at the seminary here in Baptist Seminary. So from almost giving up on God, huh? he didn't give up on you, Nicholas. Okay, Alicia, how about you?
I actually got to head out, so I'll see you guys.
Okay, I can goodbye.
Have a great night, everybody.
Yeah. Okay, Alicia.
I think even this year, as I already started to walk with God, there was still like, I don't know, is it like MCO? Like, you just have those weeks where you're like, what am I doing here? Like I think there were like a couple of weeks where I just like couldn't really feel His presence. So then it's like I just felt so empty. Like it's like, God, do you really exist? Like, I started questioning, like, is there even a God in this world? Like, who knows, Like, I've never really seen Him or what. But then, like, in my heart, I still felt like, like, you have to be real, like, and then, so I just, like, out of habit, just, like, kept reading the Bible, and then these verses just kept speaking to me, like, just read my word, and you will know me. And even like I listen to like some random sermons, and they're like all the same message, like just continue pressing in. It's like I think God wanted me to, like, in a way, He drew back so that I would go closer to Him, that kind of thing. So like I continue to like just pray, like, God, just like let me feel Your presence, and like even like Nicholas, help me in my unbelief, that kind of thing. Yeah, so then slowly I started to feel His presence again.
Yeah. Thank you, Alicia. I'm time is running up. I really want to thank all the panelists today to really share their hearts out. As you can see, our faith journey is one where it's not always smooth sailing. In fact, oftentimes when we're most broken, God meet us there. And also a bunch of them share that you meet God halfway. So God will come to you, and you will also have to seek Him, and when you seek Him, you will find Him, and he will also never give up on you, like the situation where Nicholas. And one thing I really want to thank the panelists is that how you are authentic towards God. you basically tell God what you feel, you know, and as Nicholas say, unless all these experiences that we go through needs to happen for who they are now. And I have no time to share this, but my personal journey is not different than any one of them. I'm sure Auntie Rina is the same. I'm sure Auntie Janice is the same. We all go through the same journey, and as Ben's, but that said, we all go through different journey because we are made differently, and God connect with us differently. So I think with that, I want to end tonight's session. I hope this sharing really helped you with your personal faith. One thing have in common with all of them, they have to choose for themselves. They made the decision. And when they, at one point, they didn't make their decision, and they were, because they all grew up in Christian family, they have to go to church. They have to go to youth group. That's just normal. I think some of you may be in that situation now, but at some point, true faith happened when they actively choose for themselves that they want to seek God. You know, this week at BSF, we're studying Matthew chapter 5. That's the Beatitudes. So I encourage you to go back and read that. It talks about the people that are blessed. And when you read through those passages, a lot of things that the panelists share comes out in those verses there. So I would like to end, and let me pray. Father Lord, thank you for tonight's sharing. Thank you, Lord, that for all the panelists here that are willing to be so transparent, sharing about their faith journey, their struggles and their successes, and how their faith grow over time. Lord, I pray for every participant in this coffee talk, Lord, that we will also have similar journeys, Lord, that we will feel being touched by you. And Lord, as we go through our journey, the ups and downs, help us to persevere, Lord, in our faith. And Lord, we want to know and believe and personally choose you, Lord. And I believe that you have called each one of us to know you and to love you. So my prayer is this, Lord, every single person here, not just tonight, that have also those that have listened, joined the coffee talk in the past and maybe in the future, all of us will be touched by you, Lord, and all of us will choose you, Lord. So Father, I thank you, and I pray all this in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you, everyone. So I will see you next week. Good night.
Good night.
Thanks.
Bye.